Traditionally, the far right has been a male-dominated and often openly misogynistic space.
Feminism is cancer. Thank you very much.
But in recent years, at least on the surface, something has changed.
At its core, feminism is ideological poison.
Across the world, women have emerged as key figures in far-right movements, playing a central role in softening the image and broadening the appeal of extremist politics.
So this is a new video from Vice, where they're gonna start talking about how there's these evil white women, these evil conservative women, women with traditional values. I'm gonna go with traditional values mostly throughout this video because I tend to have more socially traditional values. I would not call myself a conservative. And I think the whole idea of left versus right is a dichotomy that is designed to divide and control the masses, giving them only two options when, you can mix and match these political ideologies and make up 100 different options easily. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I do appreciate everybody stopping by. I'm the Anti-Woke Warrior. So please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure that you're still subscribed. You can find me on Rumble as Anti-Woke Warrior, all one word, and on Twitter. You might have to type in @TheOrdeal to find me on Twitter. I don't think you have to, but that is where I'm at. It used to be the name of my channel a long time ago when I first started, because believe me, my life has been an ordeal. But let's go ahead and get into this video where Vice is just going to rip a new one into women with traditional values, and I will rip Vice a new one in the process.
They are absolutely crucial to spreading the ideology, but they are also crucial to spreading the ideology with a smile and making it seem palatable.
There's probably some truth to that we're more willing to accept what women say as non-threatening than what men say.
Women that got Trump elected, and I guess to be...
No, it wasn't. That's actually not true, Miss Lochtef. And I think that she is a traditional woman, but the fact of the matter is that if men didn't vote for Trump, then he would not have been elected either. It was women and men who got Trump elected.
Edgy. It was also women that got Hitler elected.
Across the US and Europe, a new generation of female social media personalities are emerging as figureheads of far-right movements.
If you get permanently banned on Twitter like I was, do not start a new Twitter account. You'll just build up your platform again and get kicked off again. Just move to...
I don't think we need to worry about that so much right now, although if you saw Elon's poll, that whole fiasco, I don't know if that was real or not, because when I looked at it, I had about 5 hours left in the poll, and the numbers didn't change. The percentages didn't change in that 5 hours. The end result was the same as when I first looked at it. So that's maybe not a real thing, but that's a whole different subject matter. And Blonde in the Belly of the Beast, I have watched her videos. I don't know if she's still around. She probably is, but I'll check her out if she is.
To Gavin Mines.
In Italy, the far-right politician Giorgia Meloni has just made history.
Tonight, Italy is preparing for its first ever female prime minister.
In France, Marine Le Pen, head of the far-right National Rally, has established herself as the leading rival to President Emmanuel Macron.
Le Pen is known for her far-right stances like restricting immigration and banning Muslim women from wearing headscarves in public.
Okay, those are not far-right positions to hold. Restricting immigration. Nobody said stopping immigration. Restricting is different from stopping. So how is that a far-right point of view? It used to be in this country we had immigration restrictions a lot, and we need to bring them back. We need to just cancel all immigration, stop all this stuff. We used to be very insular, the United States. We wanted to be left alone. We just wanted to be left alone to do our thing. And then the world wars happened, and that kind of all changed. And then we became the police of the world so that we could keep people from invading our friends or invading us. Because we saw that the world could potentially change to a situation where it wasn't going to uphold the U.S. citizens' best interest. And now, as far as banning the Muslim headscarf in public, as I recall, it's the left that wants to change religion. It's the left that's all against religion. This is one of the reasons why I never considered myself a conservative, is because when I was younger, in fact, if you go back 20 years, the right was all about oh, you gotta be a Christian or a Jew or blah, 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 or you're evil, blah. And, if you weren't religious, then you were the product of Satan, period, hands down. I'm like, I don't need to follow your ideology to be a good person. I know what right and wrong is without being told that I need to be this religion or that religion. So it's traditionally been the left who has been against religion, not the right. So yeah, get your facts straight. The right is against specific religions, but not against religion as a whole. Not only that, is it just Muslims that they don't want wearing headscarves in public, or is it everyone? And then is it just the headscarf? Or is it the full hijab where you cover the face too? You cover everything except the eyes, which is a different thing from just wearing a scarf over your head. That could be seen as a person who wants to hide their identity so that they can commit criminal acts. I don't know what to tell you, but there's reasons for these things. It's not just them going like, bad, your religion bad. And even if they were saying, your religion bad, they're allowed to have whatever religion they want in France. Just like you would say the progressives now are all about, he's a white Christian male. He's a straight white Christian male. Ugh. How terrible of him. It's okay to slam Christianity. It's okay to slam Judaism. It's okay to slam whatever religion you want to, except Islam. You can't do that. No. Islam is the protected. They're such precious little angels who are oppressed. How dare we? Meanwhile, they are the second largest religion in the world and growing faster than any other religion. So get off of your freaking stupidity and listen to what Anti-Woke Warrior has to say.
Have women actually become a secret weapon for the far right?
No, they're not a secret weapon. Obviously, this would be an overt weapon. You can see them. What the hell?
Women on the far right have emerged as major social media presences, becoming leading influencers of the radical right.
I blame feminism for the reaction to what's going on and for the perpetuation of what's going on, and why this migration, this mass migration into Europe has gotten so bad.
Lana Lockteff made her name spreading racist and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories through the white supremacist media channel she runs with her husband.
So what was this? Yeah, this was Red Ice TV. I remember this. I don't know if they got shut down or not, but I know they didn't have a huge following last time I checked out their channel. It was only 50,000 people. That's not enormous. On YouTube, that's considered a tiny channel. Now, obviously, mine is way tinier than that. But when I watch her video, she's just like, yeah, let's reduce immigration. It's nothing like, it's pretty far out there as far as being far right, but it's not like they're calling for the genocide of people or anything. Unlike, I don't know what the progressives say about white men.
You run through a few other European classics coming out that replace the main white character.
Lockteff has been clear about the unique roles she believes women should and should not play within far-right movements.
Although I think women are too emotional for leading roles in politics, this is the time for female nationalists to be loud. Why? Men. Women have a special power to inspire and motivate men.
If this, traditionally attractive woman with blonde hair and, a red lip, it somehow it's supposed to seem less odious when they talk about, white superiority.
Well, it's working on me because just looking at you makes me think that you want to be superior to me. And you don't have blonde hair. You don't have red lips. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe there's some truth to that.
But it's about putting a certain veneer. It's also absolutely about recruitment.
Yes, it's certainly true that the presence of women kind of humanizes and also almost justifies a movement.
Yeah, it makes it softer to hear. It's easier for people to hear a hard message when it's a soft, good-looking woman saying it. It's just
showing the ways in which, there's actually more familiarity, more similarity, between what the far right believes and what mainstream conservatives believe, I think is really crucial.
There's one key demographic in particular to whom female far-right influencers appear to have a special appeal, and that's other women.
So is this like a statement that people flock to their own kind? That tends to be the case. So when you want to uphold these people who are not the same race as you, Mr. White Man who thinks he knows everything, who's narrating this, what's going to happen when those people come out on top to you? Because you want everybody who's not white to be in charge.
The majority of white women voted for Trump. So I think the media is trying to spin it that, oh my God, all these women are feminists now. I think the majority are not feminists. And when you actually talk to women and say, well, what does that really mean? You find that the majority of them are actually quite traditional.
The irony is that Lockteff and other far-right influencers spend much of their time railing against the feminist movement that won women the right to a public political voice in the first place.
Really, it won them the right to a public political voice in the first place? You mean before that they couldn't speak? It was all men going, "Hey, we need to give women the right to vote. We need to give women." It was only men saying that. Women did not have any kind of public political voice at all. Yeah, historically speaking, women had a huge influence on politics for hundreds of years, and it became such a strong voice in the early 20th century that it turned into the right to vote.
I think of women back then not being able to vote and having the whole one house, one vote thing. Why would you marry a man who wouldn't vote in your best interest or you wouldn't agree with politically to begin with?
They sort of position themselves, or they have this posture of, as a woman, I can speak to what feminism really is. Women who feel threatened by it, women who don't see a place for themselves. They think that feminism has made the world a worse place. It
has, and you're the ones who want to say, you can't say that because you're not that group. You're the ones who always want to say that. You're the ones who always say, oh, well, as a black man, as a black woman, as a gay woman, as a this, as a that, and then you say what you want to say. And that has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not you know what you're talking about. You're not made an authority on a subject matter just because you fit into that group. You're the ones who expect us to go to the black people and say, okay, so what is your experience like? But at the same time, we're not supposed to go to black people and say, what is your experience like? You're the ones who are confused on the subject matter. You're the ones who think that women should have a louder voice when it comes to things like the feminist experience or the female experience. You're the ones who are doing this, not us. And I include myself in this just because I'm considered to be far-right extremist by saying the things that I say, even though I'm like, no, I think we should have equal rights. What the hell?
I think that it is ultimately an anti-woman project. They also describe partnership and motherhood as political action, because when your whole project is about guaranteeing the future of whiteness, fulfilling all of that is a matter of politics.
Notice how it's a white woman saying that, guaranteeing the future of whiteness. Who is under attack in this world right now as a race? Who is it? You freaking know so much. Freaking psychotic little piece of garbage. You know so much. Who is being attacked as a race in the world right now? Who is not allowed to have a country of their own in this world? You're not going to China and saying, oh, there's not enough diversity here. You're not going to the Philippines and saying, oh, there's not enough diversity here. You're not going to Zimbabwe and saying, oh, there's not enough diversity here. You're not going to Venezuela and saying, oh, there's not enough diversity here. You're not going to Afghanistan and saying, oh, there's not enough diversity here. It's only Europe. It's only North America. It's only Australia. So don't even start this crap with me about how, oh, we're not anti-white. These women are pro-white and therefore anti-everybody else.
Awesome. All right. That looks great. Now, this is complete. You're done. You've got this cute, ad-friendly makeup look.
Figures like the Canadian alt-right star, Lauren Southern, operate as independent, empowered entrepreneurs and consciously use the same social media strategies as other online influencers to build their following.
Underestimated the amount of people that were gonna be here. I said there was only gonna be 1,000. There are thousands. Hey, it's someone who watches the channel. How's it going?
Alongside the anti-feminist rhetoric from influencers has been the growth of an entire online subculture known as tradwives, who actively reject pursuing their own careers or independence in favor of raising families and submitting to their husbands.
I like how there's like this ominous music suddenly playing in the background when they're talking about traditional families and traditional female roles, and then what they are leaving out of this is then the traditional male role. You really think that when men had to go to work, they had to almost exclusively, and the work was almost always manual labor, that women were worse off? You really think that was the case? Yeah. It's really easy to sit on your high horse now and talk about how women need to be in careers when they can go work in an air-conditioned office typing and get paid as much as a man who actually destroys his body to earn a living.
To their husbands.
Don't listen to this narrative of feminism that is killing white Western society. Don't buy into it.
The trad movement is this movement to celebrate women who are in traditional roles.
It's so terrible. I mean, did you see that traditional woman there? She put something into the oven to bake it. No!
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
That's destroying the entire world. She's baking something. She's wearing a dress while she's at home and an apron. The evil of it all.
You are creating content that celebrates, that, highlights how good the trad life is. It's making traditional gender roles seem appealing, seem cool, seem a part of the future. But if you really spend time with it, and you look at some of these, Instagram accounts or TikToks, what you'll realize is it's as much about what it's against as what it's for.
No, it's not. And even if it is as much about as what it's against as much as it is what it's for. So what? What is it against? Do you define these terms? No. You notice they don't define. You know what they're getting at. You know what she's trying to hope that everybody gets is as much about being against homosexuality, trans, LGBTQ, and non-white people as it is about being for the traditional lifestyle. And she wants to say that it's not progressive to have this lifestyle. It's regressive, or it's too traditional, it's too conservative. It's not allowing change to come in. But we've seen what has happened. We've allowed this change to happen over the last 50 years. Women having children and not raising them, allowing people to engage in whatever sort of sexual perversion they want to. It's not hurting anyone, right? That you do you, you're an adult. As long as everybody involved is a consenting adult, who cares? And the world is falling apart.
Thank you for not being ashamed to be traditional, to be Christian, to be conservative, and to be white.
I'm feminine, not feminist, right? And so seeding these ideas that, you want to be like me, look how great my life is, children love me, men love me, like, look how celebrated I am in comparison to, right? You'll start to see the ways in which being trad is also about being anti something, not just pro-tradition, but anti-progress. No role could be more important in the far right than being someone who is willing to uphold a society of traditional gender roles and to have children and raise children within that society.
Yes, and like I just said, we see what happens when we don't uphold those traditional gender roles and then raise children in a traditional manner. Look all around you. The country is falling apart.
In Europe, two examples stand out of female politicians leading far-right parties to mainstream acceptance. In France, Marine Le Pen took over her father's far-right anti-immigration party in 2011 and immediately set about trying to soften its hardline image, taking it from the margins to become a major opposition party.
Je contrôlerai l'immigration et rétablirai la sécurité pour tous.
All right, so if you're not looking at the screen or you can't read it quickly enough, I have frozen it. I will control immigration and reestablish security for all, is what this French lady says.
Far-right movements and parties, first of all, are highly strategic, and secondly, are highly opportunistic.
You're right. You know what? Far left, even left, no other political group has those qualities. None of them. I would say that the right has even fewer of those qualities than the left does.
Women are essentially a tool to that end. Women are seen as having a better entree into that process of detoxification.
So which is it? Do we want women to be out there pushing the message and taking these careers and etc., or do we want them to be stay-at-home wives? Which one is it? Make up your mind.
There will be in these immigrants terrorists.
Marine Le Pen.
Oh, really? There's going to be terrorists in these immigrants. Maybe that's why she's calling for security. Maybe that's why she's calling for a restriction on immigration. Nobody's fooled by this. Are you kidding me, man? We've seen the rise in terror attacks in Asia, or not in Asia, in Europe. And yeah, they fell off during the pandemic. I haven't heard anything since then. But up until the pandemic, we saw a steady increase in these attacks perpetrated by the people who are immigrating illegally into Europe.
And is a very smart and adept politician. She wants to project racist ideas to potential voters, but she also sees that there's a boundary, and if she goes too far, that would start costing her voters instead of adding voters.
Le Pen has even tried to co-opt feminist arguments, pitching her anti-immigrant rhetoric as a defense of women's rights.
A day after the allegations of mass sexual assault were made public, Cologne continues to search for the perpetrators and for answers.
On New Year's Eve 2015, large numbers of women were sexually assaulted by groups of male immigrants at celebrations in Cologne and other German cities. Far-right parties immediately seized on this to amplify panic about the so-called European migration crisis that year.
Oh, that's what they did. They seized on that to amplify the panic about this. It wasn't the fact that, hundreds or thousands of women were sexually assaulted by illegal immigrants, by legal immigrants, by immigrants coming from the Middle East, from mostly Muslim countries. They're seizing on this to push our message. No, why aren't they just seizing on to go, hey, look, maybe it's a bad idea. Just honestly say, look, maybe we shouldn't let these people come in here. They're assaulting our women. Maybe we should rethink this whole just let anybody come here. Everybody's human. Everybody wants the same thing. Yeah, that's true to a great degree, but then you get into these other belief systems that say, hey, we can mistreat women if we want to.
An estimated 1,700 right-wing demonstrators protested Germany's liberal immigration policy after more than 20 migrants were arrested for allegedly assaulting women on New Year's Eve.
Le Pen herself wrote an editorial claiming that immigration from Africa and the Middle East was a threat to women's rights in Europe.
It is. Do they have equal rights for women in these other countries? Do they? No. We've seen videos about this from people from those countries, from women from those countries, for years. You can go find them on the internet.
In Europe.
The fact that Marine Le Pen uses women's rights in some arenas and doesn't use women's rights in other arenas is a perfect example of how that's an opportunistic strategy.
Maybe it's a perfect example of how that doesn't apply to all arenas of life. Or maybe it's a perfect example of how she can use it as a talking point for one element of life in France, and it doesn't need to be used in another area, or it's a perfect example in one area and not in another.
It's a tool to say, I want to attack ethnic minorities, I'm going to attack them using this tool.
In Italy, there's been a similar process of female-led detoxification, with Giorgia Meloni leading the far-right Brothers of Italy, which has roots in Italian fascism, to become the largest party in parliament.
Moi, je crois que Mussolini, c'était un bon politicien.
So for those of you who don't speak Italian, I froze it again. It says, I think Mussolini was a good politician. And of course, they're using this to prove that she is a fascist. She is in support of fascism. But, you can think somebody's a good politician and not agree with their politics. Joe Biden is a perfect example. He's been in politics for, 120 years, I think? And I disagree with him. He's obviously a freaking nut job idiot who thinks that I'm evil just because I'm white and male. That's literally what his cabinet has been all about. But he has successfully been a politician for a long, long time. So, The
45-year-old firebrand insists she's no fascist, just a proud conservative and nationalist.
And unlike Marine Le Pen, Giorgia Meloni doesn't use feminism in order to gain votes.
I see the woke ideology. Will we surrender in front of this?
In fact, she openly rails against modern feminism, instead championing so-called traditional family and gender roles, despite herself having faced the stigma of being an unwed mother.
Sí a la familia natural. No a los lobby LGBT.
Meloni's, like virtually all far-right politicians, extremely contradictory.
Really? You find them all extremely contradictory? You don't think the left is contradicting itself? It doesn't have to constantly move the goalpost to keep itself from being contradictory? Yeah.
Parts of feminism work for her as a politician. At the same time, absolutely interested in using anti-LGBT, anti-women's rights, anti-welfare for immigrant rights rhetoric when it suits her. Very important to realize that women are not politically a monolith now or in history. We create our own peril by failing to understand how central women can be in the far right if we have blinders on that make us think that far right is a man's terrain and progressive politics is a women's terrain.
And guess what? Now we're pissed. And we have very good reason to be pissed. And I hope you're not twisting this for your liberal media.
So now, if you're not watching, they're showing us this just Wamalo. It's serious land whale here with bright red, obviously dyed hair. But she has a Trump 20 I'm assuming it's 2024. Maybe it's a 2020 sweatshirt on. I don't know. So, hey, yeah, you know, she does not fit the stereotype. She looks like she would be some sort of far left woke propagandist idiot. But no, she wants to vote for Trump, so.
Influencers use the platforms won for them by feminist pioneers to attack feminism itself. But as long as they keep pulling in votes and online clicks, no one on the far right is going to get too hung up on these hypocrisies.
It's not a hypocrisy, dumbass. God, that's so infuriating, that last line. Look, women have always been able to speak. What the hell is wrong with you? Where the hell have you been? Before 1964, women were not allowed to speak. They were enslaved. It was the Handmaid's Tale. There were women actresses. There were women musicians. There were women all over the place that could speak. You think that wouldn't be the case? They wouldn't. Oh, you're not allowed to use YouTube. You're a female. No. Can't use YouTube. Can't use Facebook. Can't use Twitter. Can't use any of that stuff. You're a female. Urgh. You get back in line. You dirty little woman. You. How dare you? Urgh. No, it was not like that. Women could speak. How do you think they won the freaking right to vote, you idiot? Oh, man, this is so infuriating to me. In case you couldn't tell. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. I will see you all in the next video.